Hi, welcome to the Louise Jannetta Gallery Studio YouTube channel. I do a lot of demos and tutorials, and if you find them useful, I'd be grateful if you could remember to like and subscribe. It's really helpful. In this instance, we're going to be looking at papers for journal making. So journal making is this lovely gift to yourself where you record and really contemplate your processes. You keep this little treasure chest of information that you've developed, and papers and experimenting with papers and the substructure of an image is really important. I was looking at Japanese paper making processes. So it's already made mulberry paper, but they combine it by mashing it together, almost like a felting where the fibres combine a bit more, and it creates lovely tears and holes as well as really quite a strong structure. I was doing a tutorial at an art group, and to buy a load of this mulberry paper was quite expensive. So I thought, well, what else can I use to create these lovely ideas within a journal? And I came up with just using tissue paper glued with lovely things inside, so that you create these lovely papers yourself with textures and images within it, and it becomes so much part of your sketchbook, which you can then develop in any ways you like. My process is very much about the haptic qualities of images and of the visual reference to touch and the actual physical experience of seeing and feeling a painting. Not just its emotional response, as in feel, but the physical, sensorial response of movement, of texture, and of existence. And I think journals can really possess that as well. When I do the lessons, I really think about the interests that other people may have, not necessarily always responding to my work directly. I want them to be able to go away and use the ideas for themselves. So I do a variety of ideas, and it's just to stimulate creativity, really. And these are a variety of papers that I made for somebody to construct their own journals and their own ideas, and all they're doing is going to take away useful hints and tips so that they can do their own books. And I've been collecting a whole load of bits and pieces together so that I can take this along to a tutorial at an art class, and people can have a good look and a good rummage through the things that I've been experimenting with. And of course everything is very dependent on the touch and feel of this. And I'm going to show you how to make these papers. They're really, really simple. It's nothing terribly unusual, but I think that it sort of gives you permission to go ahead and do it yourself, doesn't it? So you can go off and make things and construct it to what you want it to be. I mean, I love this. I really like the sort of messy, earthy feel of this, like fallen leaves or like grasses. You know, it has the sort of feeling of maybe things left out in the rain, weathered, and I really enjoy that. But you can do it in a much more pristine way. I was clearing away the studio, getting rid of a load of books, and from having researched mulberry papers, I got the idea of making my own papers out of old photographs from books and magazines. So that's what that is, and you scrunch it up and glue it down onto a piece of newsprint or old raggedy paper, and you get this lovely effect. That's newsprint glued onto newsprint, so you get these gorgeous, like torn, worn, weathered, almost leaf-like, or, you know, things left on the ground to rot, bark, pieces of natural foliage and fibres that are partially rotten, giving back their nutrition to the earth. I've got a load of pieces that I also embroidered, so I wanted papers strong enough to take embroidery and to take additions. Well, that was a really nice one. I think that was an image of a parrot that was scrunched up and then stuck down onto this paper. And what's really nice as well is you get the reverse effect of them. So you get the lettering and the writing of the other side of it as well if you don't stick it down onto paper, if you just simply stick it together, and you get these lovely sort of juxtaposed images from it all. This one is sequins stuck in between paper. So instead of using the mulberry paper, I used simple, cheap tissue paper. And it's still, especially if you put structures within it, it becomes quite strong. But I mean, it's mulberry paper is durable. I mean, they make the umbrellas from it and they use it in bookbinding not for the actual papers but for the covers of the books because it is so durable. But you pay for it. I mean, this is a demo of the things that you can do to experience this process because it has such a lovely quality about it. There's more to it than just making the book. It's the feel and the presence of it all afterwards, and the presence of yourself and your creativity within the book, as well as the inspiration that it gives, the learning process that it involves, the experiential learning process. I hope you enjoy it. It's incredibly simple. I've cut up an old plastic bag to give myself something to actually lift the tissue papers off after they've been done because they are so delicate. So I will just lift this up and put it somewhere to dry. So you lay the tissue paper down on top of that. So all I did was make up a batch of cellulose glue, and I just start from the middle and go outwards because otherwise you're liable to rip it. Start in the middle with your mixed cellulose glue, which is it's just a natural glue that they use because it's got a archival quality to it. And then onto this, it's just up to you, isn't it? Then you can stick more tissue paper, you can stick coloured tissue paper. It doesn't matter if it rips because you can just utilise that. I mean, I've got a white tissue paper here. I can fix the rips with that and fix any holes, patch out any holes. You can keep it really, really pure as well and really, really careful. And it's up to you to sort of find out a tissue paper that's usable, that you are happy with. But there's so many sort of ways you can do it. It's up to your imagination then as to what you're going to do with it once you've started. And it's so nice because you sort of learn about the papers and about the making process. For instance, you get very curious about it and then you will go on and invest in some mulberry papers. Like one of them, I put leaves on it, just these lovely leaves you can buy. You can put threads, you can put silver threads. A lovely thing is glitters. Glitters has that terrible tendency to just go everywhere. Well, once it's on here, of course it'll stay. It doesn't become extremely glittery because you're putting it between two bits of tissue, but it does have an effect through the tissue paper. And then they become trapped in there, don't they, in the glue. Yummy. So they're little glitter stars. And then you just carefully lay the other paper on top of it and spread it over the top and then flatten it down. And everything that's in there gets trapped in between. Anything that tears, all you need to do is put a bit of glue on and bang a bit more paper on. Right. So now you use the actual plastic that you've laid it down on to lift it off and go and put it somewhere to dry. And then it's up to your imagination. I've got ribbons. I'm going to do that next. Right, so I've laid out all the raffia strips onto there. They're just cheap present wrapping things, and then I can put more paper on there if I want, you know, to patch up the bits that I've missed, like this bit here, but I probably won't bother actually. I've obviously got slightly on the twist, and see I've torn it again. It's bad paper this actually. I'm going to put a few extra bits on there and then just put it one side to dry. And anything that's sort of loose, don't worry about too much at this point because it'll all work out, you know, you will trim it to the size that you want and things like that when you've finished. Don't try and patch it up or mend it too much at this point when it's wet and so incredibly delicate. It's when it's dry that the whole quality of it's transformed. Right, So lift it up on its sheet and go and put it somewhere to dry. This, I don't know quite what it is. I found it in my treasure chest of bits and pieces, and because it's very fibrous, it'll really add to the strength of it all. So I'm just literally going to do abstract gestures across the page. Some of it I'm going to cut into strips so that it's not so boringly consistent. This is the actual width and dimensions of it. So it's the actual structure of the stuff that I'm sticking on that's going to cause the whole thing to become stronger. So you're using other things to give your paper strength, the tissue paper strength. And it's really just because I've got so many bits and pieces lying about the place I can do this. I just hope that you're not rushing out to invest in things, and that you yourself have got bits and pieces that you can use. There we go, so you've got that. Now you just put on your second layer of glue, just to make sure the stuff you've stuck on are glued as well. And then get your second piece of tissue paper and carefully layer it over the top. Now you can crease this over, you can allow it to have creases, or you can lay it so that it's flat and it has no creases. And then just gently smooth it over, but don't overdo that, because you will make holes in it really quickly. Right, I'm going to peel this off from the papers behind it. Right, and I am just going to patch that corner down here where I messed it up. I mean, I could add further strips to this at this point if I wanted to, and then you just put it to one side to dry. It's happiest drying flat. That's not quite dry, but that is the glitter paper, and some of it's torn through, so some of the glitter's coming through, but of course it won't come off because it's been glued down with the cellulose. That really needs to dry. The wet bits are ripping really easily. While it's wet, it really is still very vulnerable. It's not really until it dries that it starts to get stronger. And there's that one, which I did in fact get too much glue on the plastic, so it's quite stuck. But there you go, that's that one. I just need to let it dry. The other thing I wanted to show you is momigami, which is the Japanese art of paper kneading. And I've prepared some here which I would put into my journal in order to show students the potential of the craft. So these are some of the ones I made earlier, and I'm just going to show you putting a wash on them and the effect it has. So I've got a translucent red oxide, and you just rub it over your paper, and it has such a nice effect because it sits within the creases of it all. And it's going to put a bit of matte medium so it's not just all diluted. I just get the blue as well. I'm getting a better brush because I'm not patient with that one, but I just want to show you really what happens. So the old creases come out so beautifully, and I love that. Again, it's this sort of funny thing of talking about decay, isn't it? Isn't that effective? So nice, isn't it? So that's the effect. There you go. And that's absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? So that's it on that side. I'll just do it where there's more colour, and what happens to it when there's more colour. I mean, you could put 2 or 3 layers of this on, see how it works for you. I just love it. Unusual. I think I'll put a red in there. Here's a lovely red. It is Perylene Maroon. Oops, I don't want the brown in there. I wanted it more red. Oh, and it has such a lovely rich effect. And of course what I like about it is it's quick. Okay, and again I'm just going to rub it over so it goes into all the little cracks. And you end up with something like that. And you could add, I mean, you can keep adding to this, adding colour and see what happens. Find your own methods with it. Okay, so those are those two. And they're really nice within a sketchbook or a journal. Lovely, loads of character. Okay, so before you've stuck them down, they look like that. After you've made them, they're just photographs and things out of magazines. And it's Momigami, the Japanese art of paper kneading. So you just scrunch them up, and you can add a bit of oil because it is quite dry on your hands. And people do sort of make a fuss about how you do it, but I'm not too bothered. What I want is the sort of lovely effect of these gorgeous old papers. The oil will dry out, but that will affect the paint on it, so I'm not sure I want oil. In any case, I've got some old bits of advertising paper, and you just scrunch it up, and I must admit I add a bit of water to it rather than the oil. The oil probably makes it slightly more pliable and less fragile, but because I don't care that it's going to tear or rip, because I'm going to stick it down onto newsprint afterwards, or collage it all together, stick it all together so you've got the writing. This is a piece that is just collaged together, and I've kept all the writing to the back of the collage. There's no other paper in between that, just the book paper that I had. And then this is one that's been glued to newsprint. So you've got the picture on the front and then you've got the newsprint on the back. And it was just because it sort of gave it a bit of strength. Although if you glue enough of these together, they do become really, that's pretty tough. It's quite difficult to get a sort of even consistency on it, but of course that doesn't matter. And they look so fabulous when they're painted. So you just scrunch it until you're happy enough with how the ink is broken. So the ink becomes broken up and cracked, doesn't it? There's all sort of partial tears that break the surface of the inked surface and go through to the paper beneath. And that way, when you paint it, when you add colour to it, the cracks take the colour and the ink obviously has a different effect. And the more you knead it, the more you're going to break that surface. So that's it really. I mean, it's obvious from then on. This, oops, I've torn it, and I don't mind at all. This I would glue down, as I say, to pieces of newsprint. I've got some old newsprint. I like the pattern side, so I would just put some cellulose glue on it and start the collage of that. And I would enjoy the bits where it tears, and enjoy the bits where it, you know, cracks or opens or folds. And cellulose is really brilliant for this actually. So just keep going. And then when it's dry, you can add your colour. This is a really nice one. It's just such a beautiful colour. That's the end of my cellulose glue as well. Oh, and that's torn, and I really don't mind, I like the tear. And they just become something else, don't they? For me, this is a start, just a demo. I would continue on down here, I think, and just cover the whole thing up with this strange stuff. Okay. I've just done these two for a lesson, just so that I've got something to show them. And I thought they were lovely, so I thought I'd show you too. So that's that side. And that's that side. And they're just so effective, aren't they? There's such nice colours come out of them. Oh, hope you enjoy it. When everything is dry, I will stitch it all together, bind it all together, glue it up and put a cover on it, and I've got a really lovely little journal thing, both for myself and for my lessons, my tutorials. So I'll take this along and I'll show them the possibilities of what you can create. And of course, this is just the beginning. All this can then be embellished. So I would go one, make my signature up on my lovely papers. So that was plastic stars, that was plastic stars. Those were little fabric stars. So you make your signature up, sew them all together and put a cover on it. The possibilities are endless. I'll put a list up just so that you can get some ideas as well. But enjoy. Thank you for watching, and I hope you get something from the video. If you do, please can I ask you to like and subscribe, because it really helps. And see you next time. All the best. Bye.